It is a massive understatement to say that I'm delighted with the progress that Manchester United have made this season under Erik Ten Hag. I think we're ahead of schedule. I think he deserves more praise, and I'm going to do that in this video. What I'm also going to do, while sort of like taking into account everything that's happened over these last few months, is also take a look ahead and explain in this video exactly where the weaknesses are and where the next steps are needed for this second stage of Erik Ten Hag's football team being built at Manchester United. Make sure you subscribe to United People's TV if you're new. I'd love for you to become part of this community. But now that we've got a little break from football, we have the ability to take a step back and take into account everything that has happened, because it's been wild. Man United winning their first trophy in 6 years was a big step in the right direction for this team, for Erik Ten Hag, for these players. It was necessary. Absolutely necessary. I said it was the crescendo of our season. I think United's form post that win has kind of shown that. But also on top of that, you've got those games there. You've got us knocking Barcelona out, us getting to the FA Cup. Well, look, we're in the quarterfinals there against Sevilla. Let's find out whether we get through that. And if we do, we're facing either Juve or Sporting in the semi, and then maybe Roma in the final. Mourinho, that's going to be crazy. But on top of that, we're in the FA Cup semi-final. We're down to the last four. Got a game against Brighton, a second trip to Wembley this season. And we're third in the Premier League. And our next game against Newcastle at St James's Park is going to be big. But Erik Ten Hag, the progress. You can focus on... Look, right, Roy Keane. I absolutely love Roy Keane. Probably the best captain I think I will ever see at Manchester United. And this is what he said after the game, talking after the game against Fulham, saying that Manchester United are a team that play in moments and we've slipped into some really bad habits. And I think Roy Keane is doing a massive disservice to really understanding the context and the circumstances around this team. We've done all of this so far this season, and Erik Ten Hag will not speak about it, but I will. We have played every 3 days. 3 days. We have had 25 games in 88 days. We have only lost 2 of those games. We've won 19. We've got 54 goals that we've scored in 25 games. We've got 10 clean sheets. We've got the League Cup in the bag. We were in the FA Cup semi-final down to the last 4. We're in the Europa League quarter-final. We're third in the league. We are massively exceeding expectations from where we were last season, right? Remember where we were when we lost to Crystal Palace on the last day of the season, to where this man has taken us in 8 months is spectacular. And what we've been doing in this period here, right? And we've had to do it quite often without Casemiro, and pretty much the whole time after the World Cup without Christian Eriksen, without the 2 key midfielders who are crucial to this Erik Ten Hag team. So to see Roy Keane over here talking about Man United slipping into bad habits and being Moments FC, I really think that's unfair. Yeah, it's true, but it's unfair to focus on that. You might say that's a bit of a strange sentence to say, and maybe I'm the optimist. I know I take an optimistic point of view, but 25 games in 88 days and only 2 defeats. Yeah, we're not going to be breezing through every game, and certainly not without Casemiro and without Eriksen. But United, it's fantastic, and I tell you what we need to do. Well, we need to rest and recuperate, because look at what's coming up after the international break. Newcastle, Brentford, and Everton in the space of 5 days. Then the Europa League quarterfinals kick off. We've got to go away to Forest, who are in a relegation scrap. Then we play Brighton in the FA Cup semi. Then we go away to Spurs before finishing the month at home to Villa. It's a crazy month coming up. And the thing that I want to speak about here is, look, Man United without Casemiro are a different team. Manchester United without Eriksen, we do not have that control. What has got us here this season will not get us to that next phase. And this is where we need to quickly take a look at the tactics board. I show this in my live stream, but this deserves and warrants its own separate video. Honestly, I might actually do a whole full video on this. McTominay and Maguire. I'm not scapegoating these two, but I'm talking about the drop-off from what happens when they're not in the team to when they're in the team compared to other players. So this is is this a team that played? I think this was a team. I think this is the right team. The point I was trying to make on the live stream this morning was this. If that is Casemiro, right? Let's replace this, and let's say against Fulham on Sunday, we had Casemiro fit and we had Eriksen fit. Both of them there. What you would have seen in the build-up for Manchester United, you would have seen Luke Shaw going up on the overlap. You would have seen Wan-Bissaka going up on the overlap. You would have seen Casemiro playing a little bit further ahead. And when United go forward, you would have seen Martinez and Maguire split with Eriksen dropping in deep. Eriksen receiving the ball here. And all of a sudden, Manchester United have got so many more options and we would have played it through the middle. We would have had control of that football. Instead, we weren't able to do that at all because Casemiro wasn't in the team, because Eriksen wasn't in the team. And instead, we had McTominay, who's better going forward. We had Sabitzer, who's better going forward. And any time that Martinez and Maguire found themselves in these positions, they found too often that McTominay was too far up the pitch, Sabitzer was too far up the pitch, and we had a big old gap in the middle, and we couldn't progress it unless Martinez was the man who was bringing that forward with his vertical passes. This is the big issue that faces Erik Ten Hag. Now, we're all just going to have to hope that this dude is back after the international break. We need Eriksen back in this team, and this is the blocker for the next step. Phase 2 cannot happen for Erik Ten Hag with the current squad we have. And it's not a criticism of it. It's just it's an appreciation of the circumstances and the reality and the truth staring you in the face. We all know what the number one priority is this summer, and that is a new striker. You've got Sesko, Kane, and Osimhen there. 3 strikers, 2 of them, Osimhen and Kane, who are probably more likely. Well, let's speak about Kane. We don't need to get into the nuances and the ins and outs of it, but we need a pure number 9 if we are going to, because as I said, we're currently competing in the Europa League, and we're just watching the Premier League title race get played out above us. Next season, if we're going from where we are now to there, if we want to be in the Champions League, if we want to be in the conversation for the Premier League title, we need a pure goal scorer. Number 1. However, number 2, and that's what I've just tried to explain inside this sort of tactical look at Manchester United's build-up. When we've got Casemiro, when we've got Eriksen, we are a different breed of a team compared to what happens when the likes of McTominay and Sabitzer start there. Sabitzer's a very good midfielder, but he's better towards the edge of the opposition's box. And that is where you could argue, I don't think it's as important as a number 9, but Erik Ten Hag, I don't think we should be going after Frenkie de Jong this summer, right? I don't think that should be part of our next steps. What we should be doing now is using this time to identify somebody else in that market, because there will be somebody. It won't be Frenkie de Jong, sure. And he's the number 1 in that position in terms of Ten Hag and his requirements. There will be someone else. I'm done with chasing shadows. I think de Jong is happier now than he was at Barcelona last year, and he still didn't come last year. I think he stays there. Now, of course, Jude Bellingham is a conversation that we could have. I don't particularly think that he's that deeper lying midfielder. I think like Sabitzer, like McTominay, like Fred, Bellingham prefers to be attacking, prefers to be in the opposition's half rather than being the dude that receives the ball from his 2 centre-backs. Now, according to Jason Burt, United are going to be in for Bellingham. And look, when it comes to our new owners, right, I've got no doubt that we're going to be back. They are going to back Erik Ten Hag. Of course they are. However, what I think that will change this summer, and this is a huge step for this club, we are going to have to be better at selling players. I think you're looking at 2 players there who could leave this summer. Maguire should be going north of 40 million. For his age, for his experience, international experience, it's a fair price. We'll lose money because we overpaid for him at the start. Maguire's definitely worth like 40 million plus. McTominay, I think you can say 20 million plus as well for him, given what players go for in his current market. And then you add in the likes of Telles, Henderson, I think Martial, Jones. There's others I can throw into it too, just not off the top of my head. But all of this is necessary for the second phase for Erik Ten Hag. And that's what I wanted to do in this video. I think it's really important to... Ooh, my voice went there. It's important to give praise and credit, man, where it is due to this team. And as I said, I think Roy Keane he's not taken that into account of what this team has managed to achieve despite everything that's happened with all the games and this lack of depth outside that first 11. That's why we need, well, we know we need a big striker this summer. We know we need another central midfielder. And we know that he's going to get the backing from our new owners. But we have to be better at selling, and that is going to create the conditions for Ten Hag to enter that second phase. And that second phase is getting Manchester United competing for the Premier League title. That's Manchester United returning to the Champions League. And that's Manchester United starting to dominate and control games so much more, even if Christian Eriksen and Casemiro aren't in that starting 11, which currently we cannot do. But I want one more time here. 25 games in 88 days, and we've lost 2 of them. We scored 54 goals, and we've won a trophy in that time. Superb. You can talk about the dip in form that we've had post winning the League Cup, yes, but the results have still come. Not all of them, but a lot of them. Ten Hag has done a wonderful job. I can't wait to see what this next phase is, but for it to happen, we definitely need to be backing him properly this summer. You let me know what you think in the comments below. As you always do, best community in the world.